Hola, bienvenidos, bienvenidas a GCSE Spanish Practice. Now, your writing exam is around the corner, and today I'm bringing you 9 tips to get full marks or as close as possible to full marks, okay? So stay around because number 9 is the most important one that you're going to see today. Okay, number 1, do first. So, these parts of your writing exam do not require planning, and that is the translation for both tiers, foundation and higher. Just do it, get it done. Do not leave any blanks. Have an educated guess, but do it in 10, 15 minutes tops because there's no much planning to it. Okay, so as soon as you do that, you have freed up all the time to do the rest of the tasks. If you're doing foundation, please do the photo description and the grammar fill and the translation first, because these don't require much thinking. For example, in the grammar gap fill, you can just, if you don't know the answer, you can guess and just get done and over with and move on to the next bit. So do first these bits and do not leave any blanks. Number 2, vocabulary. Focus on quality. There is no point in you cramming vocabulary just because obviously we need a range of vocabulary, but what we're looking for is the variety and that it is GCSE specific. So if I ask you to think about 5 words in the relationships topic, what is it that comes to mind? Mi hermano, mi hermana, mi amigo. Okay, we know all of this, okay, from year 7. So what we're looking for example, in this topic is me ayuda, me apoya, me escucha, me llevo bien, discutimos, which are specific to GCSE. Okay, so focus on the quality, not as much on the quality, because when you are doing your piece of writing, you are in control of what you are saying. Now, number 3, notes. This is really important. Sometimes we forget, okay? For some people, it's super important. For some people, it might not be as helpful, but it is something to consider. So as soon as you sit down, write down notes, okay? In the margin at the top. Examiners will not read that and they will not mark it. So some people use the acronym avocado to remind them, okay, of all the different things that they need to include. Some people use numbers like 7 for 7 lines and then old rat, which I have been using in my videos. If you like to check some videos on writing, please check this. Some other people come up with some sentences to remind them of what is it that they need to do. For example, one of my students has 7 for 7 lines per bullet point. Complex as in check that you have added complex sentences. Check that you have the accents there in words like también or más. And then do not repeat to avoid repetition, and then accuracy. A reminder to go and check that everything is accurate, so there's no spelling mistakes, no missing accents at the end. There might be some other things you want to write down. For example, a wow sentence, okay, that you don't want to forget. So as soon as you sit down, write it down. Number 4, order. Bullet points. As an examiner, I cannot emphasize enough how really makes the whole task much easier when students answer each bullet point, which obviously I know it unlocks the top band so you can have access to the maximum amount of marks. But also they do these 2 things. They answer in order. So as you find the bullet points, that's it. The first one, the second one, the third one in your 90 words or in your 50 words, follow the same order. And then each of the bullet points is developed in a separate paragraph. That would be amazing. Please do that because you will make the examiner happy. If they are happy to see your piece of writing, they will be happier when they mark in because they're human. Number 5, words. The word count shown in each of the activities that you have to complete is not a suggestion, it is the bare minimum, okay? So yes, we don't spend time counting words. You know roughly how big your handwriting is. For example, I know in one line, I'll write average of 10 words, okay? So if you're doing foundation, in the 50 words, just make sure that you have done 10 words per bullet point, okay? As soon as you finish a bullet point, count them, add something in it B, then cross it out. Same happens for the 90 words. So if you have roughly 10 words like me per line, then you know it's 3 lines per bullet point minimum. So aim at 3 to 4 lines. And then 150 words, I recommend 6 to 7 lines per bullet point. But then again, your handwriting might be tiny. So please have a clear number of, try it, write down on a piece of paper how many words can you fit in a line, and then, do your calculations based on that. Number 6, sorry, I forgot to say, and why is this important? This is important because the bare minimum for you to access the top marks is that bare minimum of words, okay? So it's really important. If you go over, it's not a problem, but if you are way under those, then yeah, that would be a problem and you will be going down in the mark. Okay, so there you go. Number 6, tenses. Learn a couple of phrases in each tense that you want to get right. Everybody knows fui, voy, and voy a ir, or you should know it at this point. But if you want to learn some phrases that are a bit like more sophisticated, here we have some in the past tense. Cuando era más joven me gustaba plus infinitive. For example, cuando era más joven me gustaba jugar al fútbol. When I was younger, I used to like playing football. Or 2 years ago, everybody knows en el pasado, okay? So I'm just talking about different types of sentences in different tenses. 2 years ago, I went to the park. Hace 2 años fui al parque, okay? In the present tense, normalmente suelo plus infinitive. Okay, we forgot how to conjugate verbs for any reason. We went blank. Normally, I tend to plus infinitive. Normalmente suelo plus infinitive. Normalmente suelo jugar a videojuegos en mi tiempo libre. Or I never do, or I always do. And then whatever in the present tense, in the I form. Nunca hago deporte. Siempre voy al cine. Nunca visito a mis abuelos. Too bad. Siempre veo telenovelas. I always watch soap operas, okay? And so forth. Now, future tense. Please learn. Cuando sea mayor, quiero plus infinitive. Okay, when I am older, I want to plus infinitive. Cuando sea mayor, quiero viajar a Puerto Rico. When I am older, I want to travel to Puerto Rico. Or in 5 years' time. Dentro de 5 años voy a trabajar en un supermercado. In 5 years' time, I am going to work in a supermarket or whatever. Okay, it's just an example. So learn a couple of phrases in each tense that are not the usual en el pasado, normalmente, en el futuro. Okay? Number 7, wow phrases. Learn some of them. Okay, in the description of this video, you have a free resource. The link is there. Go and learn 2 or 3 of those that are in that helpful worksheet, and or learn these. For example, siempre me ha gustado la idea de vivir en España porque a mi modo de ver es muy interesante. I have always liked the idea of whatever it is in the infinitive, in this case, living in Spain, because from my point of view, or the way I see it, a mi modo de ver, the way I see it, it is very interesting, okay? Amazing wow sentence, try and fit it in some of the bullet points. Another one, I love this one. Si fuera posible, me gustaría vivir en el extranjero, porque sería un sueño hecho realidad. Lovely. It's complex and it's got different tenses in there, different moods. We don't need to know the theory behind it, but it's really good. If it were possible, I would like to plus infinitive. I said living abroad, because it would be a dream come true. And finally, very easy, okay? Me muero de ganas de, plus infinitive. Me muero de ganas de comer tortilla de patatas. I am really looking forward to eating Spanish potato omelette, okay? Literally translates that I am dying of the willingness of whatever. But what it means is I am really looking forward to. Okay, so it's in the future. Me muero de ganas de ir a la universidad. I am dying, literally. I am dying going to university. This is the best idea that I can have about the future plans. All right. Number 8, connecting your ideas. It's really important. Everybody should know por qué, pero también. And then we should be adding something to add some more sophistication, like on the one hand and on the other hand. So you can pause the video and give me at least two different ways to say por qué that are different from por qué. 2 different ways of saying pero. two different ways of saying también, and then the translation for this one, okay? Yeah, you can pause the video now because I'm going to say the answers. Here we go. So, porque, ya que, dado que, puesto que. They mean something like given that, since, but they mean porque, okay? So alternate porque with any of these and you can't go wrong. Pero we have sin embargo. But when you have said pero and sin embargo a couple of times, you might want to add in a no obstante, which is nevertheless. It means pero, okay? También we have además, in addition, or you can say igualmente, equally. It also means también, okay? And then on the one hand, por un lado, so we say on the one side, on the other side. Por un lado, por el otro lado, okay? Sometimes they get together by putting here a pero, or however, sin embargo, okay? So, por un lado, me gusta el español, pero por otro lado, es un poco difícil, okay? Bueno, and finally, number one, if you made it here, that's great. Thank you so much. I've got so many videos working on model answers, okay, to give you the strategy to follow. So please check them out. Now, number one has to do with the planning, okay? So planning is essential. It gives you strategy. You need to practice, okay? If you've never practiced writing, writing exam, then it's going to be very hard to get full marks. So practicing is key. Obviously, you have done this with your teacher. But we need a system, okay? Maybe we do it instinctively, but we need a system. So if you struggle to structure your work, here's what you have to remember, okay? So include these structures. Let's say the bullet point is, tell me about what you like doing in your free time, okay? It is in the 90 words, for example. And you go and think about it and you're like, yeah, okay, what I like doing in my free time with a vocabulary that I know is this. En mi tiempo libre me gusta hacer deporte porque es divertido y me ayuda a mantenerme en forma. Good vocab, opinion, justification, great. However, is there a way to develop further? Yes, there is. Okay, so instead of saying, in my free time, I like to do sport because it is fun and it helps me stay fit, we're going to do something different. Okay, so just take notes. We're going to go from a general statement, okay, saying, yes, in my free time, I like doing this, giving an opinion, giving a justification, an example in the past, and then future plans about the same thing. So what you like doing in your free time goes from, in my free time, I like to exercise because it's fun and it helps me stay fit, to todos los días, si tengo tiempo, suelo hacer deporte. We could also get rid of this, okay? But I just added it for extra. But we can say every day I tend to do sport. Todos los días suelo hacer deporte. Then an opinion about it. Me encanta hacer ejercicio, ¿vale? I could have said hacer deporte, but I wanted to show you that we can alternate terms. So I love to exercise. Then the reason, porque es bueno para mi salud mental y física, because it is good for my mental and physical health. And then we give an example in the past using por ejemplo. Por ejemplo, la semana pasada hice natación y judo. For example, last week I went swimming and I did judo. And then something in the future, okay? Si fuera posible, la semana que viene me gustaría ir al gimnasio con mis amigos porque es genial. If it were possible next week, I would like to go to the gym with my friends because it is great. Okay, and I added a justification to that. So what would you do? What would you do if the question was this? What you study at school? Yeah? Let me know. Me muero de ganas de ver los comentarios. I really, really would like to see your answers in the comments. So what you study at school, can you say something general about it, an opinion, and why you're saying that opinion, an example of what you did in the past, like last year, what you did, and then what you want to do in the future. Right, so hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if I forgot any other tips that might be helpful. Pop it in the comments. And thank you so much for getting up to here. All the best for your exams. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please share, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Adios.